Today's daily devotional by Pastor Greg Laurie, A Second Chance. Oh, what joy for those whose disobedience is forgiven, whose sin is put out of sight. Psalm 32:1.
Without a doubt, one of the greatest blessings of the Christian life is that our God gives second chances. The Apostle Paul wrote, "For everyone has sinned. We all fall short of God's glorious standard." Romans chapter 3, verse 23. But even if we've failed miserably, God gives us the opportunity to put it behind us. He can dramatically turn things around on our behalf. He can forgive us. We have a choice in the course our lives take. We can either confess our sin and turn from it and know the happiness of being forgiven, or we can try to conceal our sin and then reap what we've sown. The Bible tells us that God will not bless people who try to hide their sin. Isaiah chapter 3, verse 9 says of such people, "They are doomed. They have brought destruction upon themselves." On the other hand, Psalm 32, verse 1 says, "Oh, what joy for those whose disobedience is forgiven, whose sin is put out of sight." And doesn't that sound better? David, the writer of the psalm, understood this well. David's story is a classic rags-to-riches tale. David was a shepherd and a musician. He was overlooked even in his own family. When his brothers went off to war, David was given the role of delivery boy. When Samuel the prophet told Jesse, David's father, that God had sent him to anoint one of Jesse's sons as the next king of Israel, Jesse didn't even include David in the lineup. Yet David thrived in the role of underdog. He killed the giant Goliath. He succeeded Saul as the king of Israel. God gave David the chance of a lifetime, and David rose to the occasion. Gradually, though, his attention wandered. His priorities shifted. According to 2 Samuel chapter 11, verse 1, King David sent his men to battle the Ammonites while he stayed behind in Jerusalem. While he was idling in Jerusalem, he saw a woman named Bathsheba taking a bath. David sent for her and slept with her, even though she was the wife of Uriah, one of his most faithful soldiers. When he learned that Bathsheba was pregnant, David called Uriah back from battle, hoping that he would sleep with his wife. That way, people would assume that he was the father of her child. But Uriah refused to enjoy the comforts of home while his fellow soldiers were still camped on the battlefield. In desperation, David arranged for Uriah to be killed in battle so that he could marry the widow Bathsheba in time to make the baby's birth seem legitimate. David failed God spectacularly. He committed adultery and murder. And after he was confronted by the prophet Nathan, he felt the weight of his sin. He wrote, "Have mercy on me, O God, because of your unfailing love. Because of your great compassion, blot out the stain of my sins. Wash me clean from my guilt. Purify me from my sin." Psalm 51, verses 1 through 2. God heard his prayer, forgave his sins, and gave him a second chance. And God will do the same for you, no matter what you've done, if you repent and ask for forgiveness. As you go about your day, I encourage you to think about this question. How does knowing that God offers forgiveness and second chances change the way you respond when you fail?